Nigel. You worked hard in class yesterday. I know it was tricky, but we're going to get it. I'd like to start with the right hand because really the right hand's very repetitive and it's in a pattern that I want to make sure that you see. As you know, the majority of the right hand, really everything in the right hand that's not colored in, is just, that's it, right? E flat, C, D, C. That happens over and over again. We have our E flat, C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C, and then it has a special ending, then back to E flat, C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C, different special ending, and then back E flat, C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C. First special ending, E flat, C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C, E flat, C, D, C, E flat, D, C, D. That's the last special ending that goes to the C whole note. So really, the majority of the time, you're really just playing that 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1. If you can play that, you have the majority of the right hand probably memorized already. So we're just focusing on those special endings of the phrases and when they happen. So let's go over each one, and I want you to practice each one on the piano, and then we'll practice playing the entire right hand. Now, as we go through this video, feel free to pause sometimes, try things out a few times on the piano yourself, and then unpause and, move on to the rest of it. But let's go over this green one first. The green one's the one that starts with the 5 finger, the G, then it skips down to the E flat, and then it just steps down twice. That's all it is. 5, 3, 2, 1, or G flat, what am I saying? G, E flat, D, C, right? That's all that's happening there. We're playing every finger but the 4th finger, and we know it's a skip, right? Because we have the line to the line. We're skipping the note on the space. And that's the one that happens most frequently in our pattern. Yeah, it happens here, it happens again here, and then twice more in the second half. Now, the pink one is just a straight shot. You can see we have space, line, it's just stepping down. The only thing you have to remember is that the E is flat because it carries over from that E flat earlier in the measure. So our E is flat, but otherwise we just have the F, E flat, D, C. So why don't you pause and practice those two. We have the G, E flat, D, C, and then we have the F, E flat, D, C. That's the ending of the first phrase and the ending of the second phrase. All right, so pause there, practice that a couple times. And we're back. And you'll notice half your work's already done because you already practiced that one with the G, E flat, D, C. So now we just have to learn the last ending, which is starting on the E flat. Again, the flat carries over. We have our E flat, and we step down to C, and then back up. Oh, I'm sorry. We step down to C, back up to D, and then we go back to our C. E flat, D, C, D, C. Or 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. All right, so now you can pause and practice those 2 endings, or maybe even all 4 in a row. And then when you're back, I want you to notice that there is a pattern here when we get into the second half, right? So we have, if we go by the colors here, green, pink, green, yellow. And then the second half, green, pink, green, yellow. Because the right hand of the first half is exactly the same as the right hand of the second half. I don't believe there's not even one difference. It's exactly the same. So once you've practiced those endings, then you're going to put them back with their phrases. All right? So you'll practice this right hand first 2 measures. And practice that a couple times. Make sure it feels nice and easy in your hand. and then practice the next two measures. 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you can keep going, of course, because the next one we already know. Is that green again? 5, 3, 2, 1. And then the last one, of course, the 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. And once you can play that confidently, all 4 of those in a row, then you have the entire right hand really solid. It's great to have the right hand very confident before you start trying to play the left hand at the same time, because part of your brain power is going to be going towards that left hand. Oh, what's that flat that's coming next? And of course, coordinating the hands together. It's best if you feel really confident with each hand separately before you do that. It'll make it easier when we put them together. So practice that right hand. Feel confident playing that right hand alone. And now let's take a look at the left. So the left is a little bit different from the first section to the second. In the first section, the left hand starts with the first finger on C, right? And that's the C below middle C. And then we're just holding out whole notes. So we have C, 2, 3, 4, B flat, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, A flat 2, G 2, right? We have those half notes at the end there for the A flat and the G, so we're only holding them out for 2. Luckily, the first line left hand is the same as the second line left hand. So that's a bit of a 2 for 1. Let's practice that together. Remember, when we're playing flats, we can come further towards the fall board, towards the ends of the keys, so we don't have to stretch in. All right, so, excuse me, I'm getting messages here. I'm going to have the first finger on C. Let's do this together. 1, 2, here we go. C, 2, 3, 4, B flat, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, A flat 2, G 2. Something to notice is in this descending line, we're only skipping one key on the piano, just the B natural, right? We have the C. We don't play the B natural, we just go straight to the B flat. But then we have the very, very, very next key A, the very, very, very next key A flat, and the very, very, very next key G. That's called chromaticism, when we're moving from one key to the very next key, white or black. So it's something to keep in mind, because that will help visually, it will help you out a little visually when you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to the very next key each time. The fingering for that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can use each of your fingers. And if you're a little closer to the fall board, that should feel comfortable. All right, so that's that. Practice that a few times, just the left hand of that section. You can pause, practice that, and then come back when you're ready. The next section, it really is a bit of an opposite, right? The first section we're descending, we're going down. The next section we're going higher. Instead of having the first finger on C, we move the fifth finger to C. And then you and I, we changed this, so we're going to hold out whole notes instead. We can start with those quarter note staccatos when there's nothing happening in the right hand. But once we start playing our right hand, we're going to hold that out. So I have the 5 on C. I can have C. And then I'm holding C, 2, 3, 4. I step to D, 2, 3, 4. Step to E flat, 2, 3, 4. Step to F, 2, G, 2. So now we're going back more to the rhythm of the first half. I'll do that one more time. C, C, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. E flat, F, and G. And then the next measure, it just starts all over again. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. F and G, then C. C is our home note, so of course we're going to end on a C. Okay, so once that feels confident, you feel like you can play the right hand confidently, you feel like you can play the left hand confidently, then we start putting it all together. And the way we put it together, I know we've talked about this before, is we do it in sections. So instead of just trying to read through the entire thing and then going back and reading through the entire thing and going back and reading through the entire thing, you'll start to realize that it always feels new. You never really quite feel like you know what's coming next. So instead, we're just going to take 2 to 4 measures at a time. Let's start with the first 2. What I would do is I would play the right hand first of just the 2 measures. Then I'd play the left hand of the 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then I would slowly put those together. Here I go. And you'll probably have to do that a couple times, right? Ideally, we see if we can play something about 3 times in a row without a mistake, and then we feel, okay, I know this, it's pretty solid, I can move on. So then you would try maybe the next couple measures, remembering now we have that other ending in the right hand. So you might play that right hand again. You'd take a look at that left hand, make sure that you're starting with your fingers in the right place so that the transition ends up being smooth when you do add the first 2 measures back. So this would be the 3rd finger on A flat, G. And then I put that together, the measures 3 and 4. And I do that a couple times, get it under my fingers. And then once that feels pretty solid too, I'd see if I could play both of those sections, that entire line, nice and slowly. 1, 2, here I go. Right? And if you're really feeling confident with that right hand, especially if you're remembering, hey, I'm really mostly just playing this exact same figure over and over again, except for those special endings, then it starts to feel a little smoother. So you're just going to take it piece by piece. Again, when you're putting hands together, I'd say 2 to 4 measures at a time, and then start putting the sections together. You'll start to realize you know what's coming next. And then you'll realize too, like, these 2 measures in the first line are exactly the same as these 2 measures in the second line, right? The 3rd measure's exactly the same as the 7th measure. These 2 are a little bit different. The left hand's the same. The right hand of the first couple beats is the same, but then we have the different ending. But you'll start to feel, oh, this really is quite repetitive. It's really mostly the same thing is happening over and over. So you're going to just work through it slowly, getting those hands together until you can put each entire half together and ultimately the entire piece together. I know that sounds probably like a lot of work, and it is. But practicing in sections, kind of drilling these things rather than just maybe going and playing it once, you're going to feel so much more confident, and you'll be able to have a little more fun while you play it, ultimately. So please let me know if you have any questions. You can ask your mom to reach out to me. And yeah, happy practicing, all right? We'll get it. Hope to see you soon.